decorate my sister and brother-in-law's birthday cake with me as an amateur cake decorator. My husband's brother and his wife have the same birthday, so this is for both of them. They requested a chocolate cake with a fudge frosting and with a Western twist. This fudge frosting was so easy to make, but a much different texture to work with that I'm just not used to. It's much thicker after it's been set. I had to let it warm up a bit out on the counter before I could even pipe it. After my cakes were done in the oven, I let them cool on the counter for 30 minutes, and then I wrapped them in plastic wrap and put them in the freezer for 30 minutes. And then after that, I started working on my crumb coat, which is what I'm doing here. This is the third cake I've ever made and decorated in my life, and I've definitely learned some tips along the way. I've learned to put my bench scraper and offset spatula under hot water to get a smooth edge, which definitely helped with the fudge frosting since it has a firmer texture. After my crumb coat was done, I popped the cake in the fridge for 30 minutes before I started working on my final coat. You know your cake is ready to do your final coat when you touch the cake and no frosting comes on your finger. The last time I made a cake, I accidentally put the wrong side of the cake board down, so I definitely didn't make that mistake again because it was a complete disaster. Now I'm taking my hot bench scraper again here to finish my final coat. After that, I placed my cake in the fridge again for just about 10 minutes so that I could take a knife around the top of the cake to remove the excess frosting. Now we're finally on to the fun part, yay! Because they wanted a Western theme, I decided to do a rope border on the bottom. I did end up making a chocolate buttercream frosting to have a different color on the cake and to give it a different layer of flavor. Now I'm doing the same rope border on top of the cake, but in a smaller piping tip. This fudge at room temperature pipes like an absolute dream. I wasn't sure if I liked this border, but my husband said he liked it and thought it made the cake look like a cowboy hat, so I was like, okay, that's perfect. It was late at night when I finished the top border, so I put the cake in the fridge and decided to just finish it in the morning. And I just have to say, look at how beautiful the fudge frosting set on the cake. I was so happy. Anyways, I wanted to do a reverse shell border on top of the cake, and this is when I started getting really excited. I thought this border was absolutely gorgeous. I was so nervous to write on the cake, and I rewrote happy birthday way too many times. Thankfully, the fudge frosting was very forgiving and it piped very well too. I recommend practicing quite a bit before you start writing on the cake. I actually started practicing on just a plastic cutting board, and then I would scrape it back into my bowl when I was done. I tried many different methods, and what worked best for me was snipping the end of my piping bag instead of using a tip. I loved the reverse shell border so much that I decided to do it on the bottom as well. Because I'm a crazy person, I decided to make fondant for the first time and make these cute little cowboy hats to finish the cake with. I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard. I found a recipe using marshmallows, so that's what I did. Then I sprayed the hats with edible gold dust. And finally, I am done. It was a total labor of love and they loved it, so I'm happy.